Hey guys, and welcome to Astral Music and Tutorials, where we bring you the necessary information to bring out the lo-fi and chill hop producer in you. Today we're doing something different, and I wanted to share with you guys some basic beginner tips that I've used to increase my workflow. So let's get it started. The first tip is about the drum pattern, and I'll start by playing this drum progression that I made. Pretty simple and nothing too fancy. By now, most of the FL users should know how the drums appear on the piano roll. All the sounds you used in the sequencer will appear in the same channel with fixed velocities. When you play a sound, any sound, all the notes should have different articulations and dynamics, instead of sounding exactly the same and emotionless throughout the entirety of the song. Humanize your drums by doing this to your hi-hats. It gives it a nice push and pull effect which adds to the groove. Now the only issue with the sequencer is that it becomes hard to make variations in the progression. Here I have the same 8-bar pattern played earlier, pasted in the playlist twice. Now I'm gonna take the last kick out of the pattern. This would sound good in certain parts of the song to switch up the beat a little. But the problem we have now is that one change in the pattern affects the whole pattern because it's just a repeating 8-bar loop. And it's not exactly ideal to make a 32 or 64-bar drum loop, variations and everything. So this is how I achieve that with minimal struggle. Right click on the pattern 1 on the left side here and click split by channel on the drop down menu. This immediately separates each sound in that pattern into different patterns like you see here. So now it gets easier if we want to change up the beat by taking away certain elements. Now this leads us to tip number 2, perks of having a drum bus. So a bus is a single mixer channel through which a group of channels are routed through before going into the master channel. So to make our drum bus, first we name our bus channel. Select each drum channel and click on the arrow you see at the bottom of the bus channel I made and select route to this track only. Now when we turn down the fader of the bus, the whole drum sound get reduced. Don't worry, you can still reduce the levels of the track individually. Nothing has changed with that. Buses are particularly helpful when you want to filter just the drum beat without it affecting the rest of the track, or add any other effects. Here's the effect more clearly with an automation. It also helps to glue the drum sounds together when you add a compression on it, particularly good for mixing. So next is a tip to help you organize your sounds after you're done with the song. I'm not sure about you guys, but when I'm experimenting with sounds and plugins to see if they fit the song that I'm making, I tend to not delete the ones I didn't end up using, which leads to stacks of sounds in my channel rack. And this would all be before I assign the wanted sounds to a mixer, so it can get very confusing sometimes at the end. Now in this case, since it's a song I've already worked on, the mixer slots are already assigned, but you can still see some sounds that haven't been deleted. To choose and delete them all at once, go to Tools, Macros, and click Select Unused Channels. This will highlight all the sounds that are not used in the song, as you can see. To delete all of them at once, click the arrow on the top left corner of the channel rack and click Delete Selected, and your channel rack will look as clean as a whistle. Next, I'll show you some tricks I do to make working with samples easier. Here's the sample I'll be working with. Obviously, it's not in the same tempo that we're working in, and this is how I fix that. Double click on the bar on top of the sample and this window should pop up. Now change the mode from resample to stretch. After that, turn on the stretch feature in this corner. Now hold the Alt button and drag your sample till it's aligned with the lines of the arrangement. Make sure to zoom in more to make it more precise, and then voila.
Finally, inner peace.
This is what happens if you forget to enable the stretch feature. The sample just gets cut as you drag the sides. Useful in some situations, if you have the feature turned on, but keep the sample mode as resample, this is what happens. As you can see, the tempo changes, but so does the scale of the sample. But if you have it in stretch mode and reduce the size, the scale remains the same, and just the tempo changes as you change the size of the sample. Now we'll show you how to have 2 or more of the same samples with different effects on them. As you can see, I have the same sample placed one after the other. Now if I add one to the mixer and add any type of effect, let's say a filter for example, you'll know that it affects both the samples and the arrangement because they're the exact same sample. Now turn the effects off and click the corner of the second sample to bring up this window. If we click Make Unique, it will get rendered as a separate sample, so the effects you throw on the channel of the first sample will not affect this unique sample. Another way of doing this is to highlight the sample and press Ctrl-Alt-C, and then click Start to render the sample. This is what I do, just because it's faster for my workflow. As you can tell, they sound exactly the same. Now we can assign the unique sample to a new mixer track, and you can see that the effects we put into it will not affect the main sample. Thank you for watching the video. Like and subscribe if you found this helpful, and we'll be sure to make a video with a new set of tips in the future.